If you clicked on today's video because you want to learn how to create a healing identity that is so strong that your body has no choice but to heal, then stay with me, because your body is healing exactly how it is programmed to. But the deepest programming of your cells doesn't come through diet, doesn't come through lifestyle, doesn't come through environment, doesn't even come from inner work or nervous system regulation, although those are all extremely important pieces of the puzzle. But the deepest programming of each and every cell comes specifically from your identity. Each and every single cell of your body is programmed not only through your DNA, but by your current identity. And that is why so many people are having a hard time healing, because healing isn't something that you do. And yes, there is a lot of things to do in healing. I'm not denying that. But until you change your identity, until you actually become the person who is healed, the person who can heal, the person who is doing the healing from a whole state, from a place of complete faith and belief and knowing that they can heal, then no diet, no supplement, no protocol, no inner work, no technique is going to stick, because your body is just following your deepest blueprint, your identity. And so today we are not just talking about hope. We are not just talking about specific protocols. We are going to rebuild your entire healing identity. So strong, so complete, so solid that each and every cell, that your entire body has no choice but to heal. So if you are excited about today's video, then go ahead, give it a like, hit subscribe, and let's dive deep. Your identity is the subconscious blueprint for how life works for you. It is made of beliefs, it's made of emotions, it's made of experiences, a language, symbols, expectations. It is even made of your nervous system wiring. Identity is not just held in the mind with your thoughts. It is not just about reprogramming your mind. It is mind work. There is a lot of deep mind work involved, but identity, the layer above mindset training to reprogram your identity, comes from the soul, comes from soul level healing. The part of you that is directly connected to God, to source, to the universe, to the energy of all that is. And so when you think of identity from this highest perspective, we begin to understand that we are not the identity that we think we are. We are not our egoic, constructed reality, the identity of our name and our personality and our beliefs and our traits and all of these things, right? The expectations, the emotions, the language that we know. We are not an accumulation of all of this. We are more than that. We are an identity at the soul level. We are the true self. Now, most of us, all of us, if we're human, live with an egoic constructed reality, who we believe we are. And this blueprint can be changed. This blueprint is not fixed because it is just a constructed identity. It is not the true self. It is not the true you, which is unlimited potential, which is unlimited connected to all that is, to source energy, which is unlimited potential and possibility. So I'm not talking, the true self never changes, but the egoic constructed identity, the identity that we believe we are, is actually running the blueprint of our life. It is the blueprint. And the good news is this identity can be changed because it is not fixed. We could literally choose any identity. We could choose different experiences, different beliefs, different personality traits, learn a different language, have different expectations, different environmental inputs, even different nervous system wiring. And we would become a new identity. right? The soul identity doesn't change, but our construct of identity does change. And this is where our power lies. Because most people, I should say, I'm going to say almost all people who are living with chronic illness, with chronic symptoms, with chronic physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, mental, physical, right? When you are living with chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic suffering, you are living from an egoic constructed identity of I am broken. And you may be thinking, oh, my body's not work, I'm sick, I don't feel good, why is this happening to me? You may have all of these thoughts, but the actual overall identity in which your cells are being programmed from is at an identity, a belief level of I am broken. And everything you do throughout the day is constantly reinforcing this false identity. Because remember, this identity is not even true. It is not your true identity. But because you feel the symptoms and you're focused on the symptoms and your focus is going to the pain and the suffering and the symptoms and the illness, you are creating more of it and constantly reinforcing an identity of chronic illness that you don't even want. And you're doing it in subtle ways all day. Like, oh, I can't eat this, or I can't stay up late, or I can't walk that far, or I can't go out and socialize, or if I do that, I'm gonna crash, or nothing ever works for me, or I'm not normal, everything's really hard for me, I don't understand why I can't fix this. So everything that you say and think throughout the day, all of these subtle things, your body, your cells are being programmed to obey you. They are listening, and they are literally programmed to do and to carry out the instructions of the identity, which is the blueprint that they are being given. So a lot of people with chronic illness will think that they're either just healing their body, or they're healing their mental health, right? Or they're healing their emotions, they're healing their past, they're healing their trauma. Maybe they think that they're healing their nervous system. But what you are healing, even above all of that, is your self-concept. Because you are not just rebuilding tissues here. You are not just rebuilding emotional strength and resilience. You are rebuilding truth at a soul level. You are rebuilding an entire identity if you have chronic illness. Now, often when you're sick and you're suffering, you do need to start with the physical. And that is why I have a program. We work with the nervous system. We work with the physical. We work with advanced healing protocols. We work with the mind. We work with the inner, the emotions. We work with all of it because it is very hard for somebody who is living on such a low frequency and is focused so intently on the physical. It is very hard for you to go from there, like a rock bottom place, up to the level of identity, right? A soul level identity, which is the highest state of awareness, in order to see that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not your emotions, you are not the heart, you are not any of it, but you are the soul. It's very hard for you to see that when you are suffering. It's not that you're not smart enough to understand the information, you absolutely are. It's not available to you because your focus is elsewhere, because you're riveted on the physical symptoms, you're riveted on the emotional trauma, you are riveted on the mental symptoms, right? On the thoughts. And none of that is your fault. That's just where your primary focus is. And so that's why we often need to start at the bottom in the physical world. We need to start with the nervous system. We need to start, right, with the physical foundations of health and healing and work our way up eventually to the level of identity. Now, if I could put this first in my healing program, in the healing process, I absolutely would, because it's everything. But the truth is, most people can't get from 0 to 100 like this. And when people do, they refer to it as a miracle, because it seems so unlikely. It seems so instant, so spontaneous, so complete. And when somebody does go from 0 to 100 like that in an instant, it is a healing miracle. And is a healing miracle, and people don't understand it. And that's why all healing are healing miracles, but they don't feel instant because we work our way through the levels from the physical all the way up, right? From the to the mind, to the emotional, all the way up to the spiritual. And by the time we get there and we heal and we recover, it is a miracle. But because it's been spaced out over time, no one calls it a miracle. They call it like an amazing healing recovery story. And the difference is time. The difference is the amount of time in between. And that shift, collapsing the time in between where you are and the healing miracle, right? Collapsing the time from being sick with chronic illness to recovery is what identity helps with, right? To collapse that time, because identity work, shifting your identity, claiming a new identity, shifts everything underneath it. It's at the top of the pyramid. So if you can change the top of the pyramid first, everything underneath it will fall into place naturally. But don't worry if you can't get there or you can't quite work with this identity level yet. It doesn't mean that healing isn't available to you. It just means you need more proof, you need more evidence, you need more work in the physical and the mental and the emotional to build up to the faith that it takes to hold a complete identity shift and change. Okay, so your identity is here. This is I am. This is who you believe you are. And out here, we have our thoughts, and we have our emotions, and we have our beliefs, and we have our expectations, and we have the things that we've learned, and we have our language, and we have our sensations, right? Our symptoms, okay? And then out even further, we have our tools. These are our protocols, right? And our actions, right? We have our plans. We have our techniques. We have our schedule, right? And we have all of the things that we do and all of the actions that we take in order to heal. But these here on the outside, if we're looking at the outside ring here, it is very, very hard for these actions and protocols to shift anything inward, okay? It's very hard for them to change the thoughts, the emotions, all of this stuff. It works, it does work, but it's very, very hard. But it's more likely when we change our emotions, our sensations, our thoughts, our expectations, and our belief, that we change our actions, right? That we change our techniques and our protocols and our tools and all the things that we do out here and our results. If we change these things here, then we change how we act in the world. Now, if we go in even deeper to the I am, if we change our identity, this is our self-concept, this is our identity, this is everything. If we change that, we change our emotions, we change our beliefs, we change our sensations, we change our thoughts, we change everything about who we believe we are. We change how we think and how we feel. And in turn, by changing how we think and how we feel, and all of our beliefs and expectations, that changes our actions, right? That changes the results that we get in this level out here, right? So these are the results out here. They're the actions, they're the results, they're everything that we do, right, through the day. But it is very hard to change our life by just changing our actions, by just changing what we do. It's much better if we change our thoughts and beliefs and emotions. And so that's what in our food and our diet and all of these things, it's things that we eat and the things that we do and the things that we do on a daily basis and our actions and our protocols and all the things throughout the day, right? They're going to give us some results. But if we go ahead and change our thoughts and our beliefs and our emotions and stuff like that, then it's going to influence those things. But if we go to the center, and the center is really the key here, if we go right into the center of our self-concept, our I am, we change everything. We change everything that emanates out from it. We We change everything from the inside, right, out. And that's why this is the top of the pyramid in healing. So I'm going to just draw a healing pyramid here. Okay, so if this is the healing pyramid, then at the very, very, very top here is our identity, right? That is our self-concept. That is everything. That is who we believe I am. That's at the very top. And if we change that, everything else underneath it is going to change as a result of this. But often in a journey, in a healing journey, we need to start from the bottom up, because the healing journey, because it is very hard, like I said, to go from a very suffering bottom here all the way up to the top without shifting through these different levels. Okay, and so in my program, we have the physical, which includes all of the foundations of health, your diet, your sleep. It includes nervous system regulation. It includes, even above that, you know, some more advanced physical healing work, right? These are the protocols up here. So down here, we have the foundations, the one that everybody needs to do, like our sleep and our diet and our supplements and our lifestyle and our movement and all of these things. And then we have our advanced protocols. This is where we look in and we do some more advanced physical healing protocols. We get to the root causes. We do a lot of work on nervous system regulation, right? All of this stuff here is very important. And you notice, this is what a lot of people, this is what most people talk about when it comes to healing the body. Because when people want to heal the body, they start in the physical. It only makes sense. And the first layer is your foundational layer. Okay, and then we get more advanced. We get into root causes. We get into more specifics, looking at all the possible physical reasons and doing all of those protocols every day, right? And then we realize that it's going to take more than just to heal on the physical level, to heal chronic illness, to heal the whole. And so we look inward and we look at the mind. We look at all our thoughts. We look at these thoughts and we try to change them, right? We change our negative patterns, our negative thoughts, our negative beliefs. We do a lot of mind-based healing and mind-based protocols, because we realize that if we're controlling the mind here, we can control the body, because the body is underneath the mind. But then we come to realize that it's going to even take more than our thoughts and our mind. And we look inward and we look at the emotions. And this is where we have to do work, the inner work, right? This is where we're healing the trauma. And this is where we're looking at the wounds. And this is where we're looking at our emotions, right? All of our emotions, because the energy in our body, right? We are looking at energy and emotional work because it's stuck in our body and we're feeling it in these heavier emotions, right? So this is when we start to change and we start to get into more energy and frequency work. We start to get into the energetics of healing, and then we start to get into the soul level healing up near the top. And the soul level healing at the very, very top of soul level healing, right? Connecting to our God source energy, our I am frequency. This is at the very top of the pyramid. This is not only who we believe we are, this is who we actually are. The I am frequency, the I am health, I am abundance, I am everything. And when we can actually ascend to this level of the healing pyramid, we are going to heal everything underneath it. And so even though I would love to invert this healing protocol and put the soul first and the I am first, and then work with the energy and the emotions, and then work with the mind, and then work with the advanced healing protocols, and then work with the physical body and all of the foundations. It's not the way it works, because people can't ascend to the top without going through all the levels. And so I just wanted to show you how my healing program works, how my healing pyramid works. so that we can move on to the top of the pyramid so that you can have a bird's eye view on how this is going to work. Even if you can't ascend there yet, you can see the path and you know where you're going. So symptoms, right? Symptoms which live in the physical world are not the enemy. They are messengers, and they are messengers of what is above them. They are messengers from the mind. They are messengers from the emotions. They are messengers of your energy. They are messengers of your soul. And your nervous system, which is at the bottom, right? The physical body that keeps you safe. Your nervous system is always trying to regulate to safety. It's always trying to regulate back to balance. And the way your nervous system knows that it's safe, the way your nervous system knows what is safe for you, it is following the blueprint of your identity, of your self-identity. And so if your identity is, I'm an unsafe person, I'm unhealthy, this isn't safe, I never heal, if your identity at that real identity level truly believes that you are sick and that you can't heal, that is where your nervous system is going to try to tune to. It's going to try to create hypervigilance for you, a state of hypervigilance, a state of shutdown, a state of exhaustion, because this is what you're telling your nervous system where you are at, where the thermostat is set. And your nervous system believes you because your identity, the blueprint, is telling the nervous system, we are sick. And so the nervous system is tuning to the frequency, to the reality of chronic illness. If your identity is, I can never heal, everything I try fails, nothing I try works, if that's your identity, if that's what you've created as your main identity, as what you truly believe, then your body expects stuckness. Your body expects for nothing to work. Your nervous system is tuning to this. Your physical body is tuning to this. All the cells in your body are tuning to the instructions of nothing ever works for us. Nothing ever works for us. Nothing I try will work. I am stuck here. I cannot heal. That's where you're tuning your body, even though you don't realize you're tuning it to. And that's why some protocols work when you expect them to work, and other protocols or programs or things don't work when you don't expect them to work. Because reality is just shaping around what you believe. But even above what you believe, it's shaping around who you are being, who you think you are, not only who you think you are, but who you actually are being. So it stands to reason that when you become the healed version of you, when you believe you can heal, when you know you can heal, and when you actually feel healed, when you talk and move and act like you're healed, not pretending, but when you truly tune and truly believe and truly know and truly accept that this will work for you, that you can heal, when this is your identity, your true identity, not faking it till you make it, but when this becomes your identity, then everything else underneath it tunes to that reality. And that's how your cells get different instructions, right? Because the mind is thinking differently, the emotions are acting differently, right? The expectations are differently, the beliefs are differently. Everything underneath is acting differently. And so at the bottom, your physical cells are now getting new instructions, not from your DNA, but from your identity. Because identity can even shift DNA. And we know this because we do see spontaneous healing miracles all of the time. And that's what this is. This is an identity, complete identity blueprint shift that literally changes DNA. But I realize that most of you aren't here yet. Most of you aren't at this level, and that's okay. It's very hard. We want to believe it, but we don't believe it. And that's why we ascend and we move up the pyramid in order so that we can get some footing below us. We can build some evidence. We can train our body, our physical body, our emotional body, our mind. We can train ourselves to start to think this way, to start to build evidence, to start to move toward the ultimate identity shift, which is I am healed, I am healthy. And we often can't get there overnight, and that's okay. I understand that. I was there. It took me well over a decade to get to that level. And I ascended through these levels back over and over and over many, many times until I saw it, until I knew, until I understood, until I was able to go there. So I want to talk about now how your body, your physical body, obeys your identity, right? So the body takes instructions from the nervous system. That is your hormones, that is all the systems in your body, that's your organs, that is each and every cell. And the nervous system is wired through repetition, and it's wired through your identity-based repetition. So through your language, I always, insert what you always. Emotion, I'm scared, I'm sad. I'm scared I'll never get better. I'm sad that all of this is happening to me. I'm so angry that I can't figure this out. Okay, so it's the emotions and the language that we use. And it's the imagery that we allow ourselves to think in our mind when we see the future, right? That you see yourself sick, you see yourself waking up feeling sick, you see yourself going through your days as sick, you see your future as sick, you see and remember the past as sick or as hurt or as traumatized or as whatever. We're building imagery in our mind from the past and things that haven't happened in the future, and we're holding these mental images, and that's also affecting our blueprint. And then we have these behavior loops, like I can't do this, or I can't do this, or I'm gonna crash, and our nervous system gets the idea and gets the instructions and gets the messages that if I do too much of this, I'm going to crash, and it creates a behavior loop of these crashes. The thing is that we don't really understand, and it's hard to believe when you're stuck in chronic illness, is that the body is neutral and it listens to what it's being told, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And you can't trick the body into healing. You can't pretend your way there, like fake it till you make it. We try in brain retraining and it helps. It gets us part of the way there. But real healing requires real belief, real change, real deep knowing, like on a soul level. And so the body is neutral, it's just waiting for instructions. And so we're not going to bully the body into healing or demand that it heals or pretend that it's going to heal. We are going to give it the orders to heal from its authority. And who is the authority of the body? The authority of the body is the mind, but above the mind is your identity. So your identity needs to give orders to the body. So a healing identity, if we're going to build a healing identity, what does that look like? So what does a healing identity look like? Okay, if this is our healing identity right here, if we want to create a new identity, how do we do that? We're going to give it instructions through our mind, through our thoughts, okay? And those are going to be like affirmations. Those are going to be words that we're going to say to ourselves, speak out loud and say internally to ourselves. I am safe in my body. My body responds to love. My body responds to love, not fear. My body feels good. I feel good when I wake up. Every healing protocol I try works. I love myself. I trust myself. I trust my body's wisdom. I can do hard things slowly, safely. I am safe. I'm vibrant. My body is rebuilding. And it's not that we're repeating these like affirmations, although we can, because again, that helps, it does work, but we're embodying these. We're saying these mentally. We're saying these to ourselves when no one's listening. We're not just repeating an affirmation for 10 minutes a day and then all the other thoughts we think throughout the day are the other thoughts. We're like bringing this into our identity. I now believe I am the person who can heal. I now believe that my body's listening to me. I now believe that I'm capable, that I'm functional, that I can heal, right? We take them on, the words that we say and the words that we say to ourselves and the images that we allow ourselves to think again in the mind. So it's words It's images, it's self-talk, it's outer talk, it's all day talk, right? Everything that you're saying to yourself in words and images, right? And visualizations, we're really taking this on. But not only through our mind are we reprogramming our healing identity, but we're doing it through our emotions, right? So we're switching out those negative emotions and the lower vibrations, the negative vibes, for higher vibrations. We're choosing to act with love and not fear, right? We're choosing not to stew in resentment and anger, instead forgiveness and love, right? So we're using our emotions. When we feel the heavy emotions, we're feeling them, we're letting them move through us until we can create space to grab higher emotions, to feel the peace, to feel the joy, to feel the love, to feel the contentment, to feel the vibrancy, to feel the joy, to feel the gratitude. Okay, so it's not like we're forcing ourselves or making it up. We're training our emotions to look for the good, to feel the good, to notice the good, to hold the good, to grow it like a plant, like you would water a seed. And these emotions are something that we're doing all day long. We're watering the emotions in our mind, and we're not watering the negative emotions, right? We're allowing those to be there. We're certainly not pretending that they're not, but we're not watering them. We're looking, even in those hard emotions, how we can love ourselves, how we can be kind to ourselves, how we can bring trust and compassion and joy even into those moments. We're learning how to build this emotional capacity and how to raise those vibrations. And then, of course, through our actions, through what we do all day long, through all of those actions that we take, through what we choose to eat and how we choose to behave, and the protocols and the things that we choose to do, and what we choose to put our focus on throughout the day is in alignment with a healing identity, right? So if we're doing things all day long that build stress, create stress, that don't feel good to us, that make us feel bad, that aren't in alignment with our goals and our dreams and our dream life, like if we're living a life and allowing us to take actions all day long on a to-do list that doesn't feel good, then we need to change our actions, right? We're doing things now that create joy, that create bliss, that create comfort, that create connection, that create love, that create abundance, that create wealth, that create health, that create happiness, right? So we're choosing to act out this new healing identity. We're only taking actions now that are in alignment with a true healing identity. So through our mind, our heart, and our body, right? That's how we change the entire healing identity, through what we do, what we think, what we say, how we feel. And then finally, through the soul, right? What we believe, who we know we are, right? On that deeper soul level. So if that's the healing identity, then the sick identity, right? The chronic illness identity, the one who is suffering, is doing the same things. It's thinking the thoughts all day long and speaking the thoughts out loud all day long. I don't feel good. I feel sick. You are talking and thinking of words about sickness. Images and visuals, you're revisiting the past, you're revisiting how you felt yesterday, how you felt last week, you're revisiting how you might feel tomorrow and why you can't do the things that you want to do, and you're creating a visual future of you being sick, you're remembering the past of you being sick, so you're creating it. And then with your actions, with all the things that you do, you're either able to go on the walk or go out and socialize or do the things that you want to do, make the connections, go on the date, do all the things, or you don't, right? It's like the actions that you take, are they in alignment with that sick identity? So you're not exercising, right? You're not exercising, you're not eating properly, you're laying on the couch, you're choosing actions maybe that are healing actions. Maybe you are eating properly and you are exercising, but everything that you're doing is for the purpose of not being sick. It's because you're so focused on not being sick that you have to do this. It's not that you're choosing those actions because they make you feel good, because you're embodying health. You're choosing them so that one day you won't have to feel sick. So there's a big difference in how you look at it, right? And then how you feel, your emotions, like what you're thinking all day and what you're feeling. Are you feeling sorry for yourself and sad and crying and feeling angry and resentful and in shame and guilt, right? And is it all centered around suffering and sickness and illness? Be honest. I know for me it was. And then what is your identity? What is the soul level telling you? What is your identity saying? What are those deep beliefs and worldviews? Like nothing I do will work. Are you creating this sick identity? Because if you are, you need to break up with it. You need to break up with that identity that believes you are sick, that you are the sick girl, that nothing can work for you, that you need to be fixed, that you need to fight, that you can't trust your body, that you're behind, that you're broken, that you're lost, that you've lost all the time, that you can never get it back, right? That you are failing. That was my biggest one. I'm a failure. Those are identities. Those are identities. And if you are walking around with that identity, all of your cells are getting the wrong instructions. The reason we adopted those identities is because you were in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you wear a survival suit. You go into battle with armor on. And all of those identities that I just mentioned are your armor. They are your survival battle suit. And I understand why we wear them. Because we don't want to get more hurt. We don't want to feel more hopeless. We don't want to end up crushed and alone, right? We feel we need the battle suit armor. And so when you are suffering with chronic illness, you're putting on all of these battle suit armors, is what I call them. They are your survival suits, the survival suit of I'm a failure. Nothing ever works for me. We put these on like a warrior who's going into battle because we think that by wearing these suits, they're going to help us survive. But they are not your truth because the identity that you think you are is not truth. And so you do not need the suit. You don't need the suit. The suit is providing armor for you, but it's providing a very, very heavy and dense identity of chronic illness. And so when a soldier takes off the armor, we thank the armor. We say, thank you for being there for me while I went into battle. I honor you, right? We honor the uniform, we honor the suit, but we take it off. We release it. We set it down. We set down the sword. We set down the shield. We must learn how to release and take off the armor. Because under the armor, right, if we don't have our protection on, we may feel vulnerable. But it's only when we take these suits off, these heavy suits, these heavy armors off, and we learn to set them down and release them, we can pick up and wear a new suit. Wear the suit of health, wear the suit of joy, wear the suit of love, wear the suit of vibrancy and abundance and all of the things that you want. But you can't put on that suit on top of the old armor, on top of the armor that's weighing you down. You have to release it first so that you can pick up the suit you do want to wear, the suit you choose to wear now. And so if you are in survival mode, I have a program. It is free. It is free to help you come out of survival mode because it is very hard to let go of our armor or to do any of this work, let alone soul work. It's even very hard to do the physical work or the emotional work or the mindset work we need to do in healing if you're in survival mode. We're simply stuck in survival mode waiting with our armor on. So if you are stuck in survival mode, please go take my free program. You have to start at the bottom. You have to help get yourself out of survival mode so that we can start to take this armor off and we can start to work with the physical, the mental, the emotional, and then finally the soul level where we realize we are not even the suit And we can choose any identity that we want. We're not even the warrior. We don't even choose to be the warrior anymore that needs the suit to go into battle, because that's not who we are. We never were the warrior, right? We are someone completely different, and we can choose any identity that we want to embody. And then we can start wearing the suits that match that identity. And so we are going to talk about frequency in another video, because I know this is getting long, but you are always emitting a frequency. And when you're in chronic illness, okay, let me just get this done here. You're always emitting this frequency. And when you are in chronic illness, your frequency is chaos, okay? All of this is chaos. But when you are in health, right, when your identity is in health over here, you are committing these beautiful, coherent frequency waves, okay? So they're beautiful. Okay, these ones are ugly. They zigzag all over the place. They're not straight. They're messy. They're ugly. And when you're coherent, you're emitting this beautiful healing frequency of love and abundance and all of the things that you want. So your frequency, right, which is your energetic signature coming from identity, is coming and tuning from the identity that you hold, from your truth, from your I am. That's where the frequency, right? Your identity is tuning your frequency, and it's either tuning chaos or it's tuning coherence. And so that's why this cannot just happen in the mind. It's not just a mind work. It's not just beliefs that we're changing. It's our frequency. It's our energy. We are actually emitting a frequency. And it's the embodiment of mind, body, heart, and soul, all being in alignment with true healing, all being in alignment to your blueprint, your identity blueprint of I am healed, I am healthy, I am vibrant, of like who you believe you are. That is the energy frequency that you are going to be tuning to. It's not about trying, it's not about forcing, it's not about pretending. It's literally about not even tuning into that frequency, but becoming the frequency itself by believing you are that frequency, by emitting the frequency, because you are the field. You are the field itself, and you are creating the frequency that emanates from you. You are not necessarily tuning in to a frequency of healing. You are creating the frequency of healing. You're emitting the frequency of healing. You're becoming the frequency of healing, right? You're learning how to turn on and create your own healing frequency vibration, not by tuning into it, but by becoming it, by knowing you are it, by believing that you are it. So this is very deep stuff. This is the kind of stuff I talk about on my other channel, Lisa Be Yourself. This is where we talk about our dream life and identity creation and reality creation. And we are working on a soul level. It's not even about healing anymore. It's about being your true self. It's about creating your own reality and your dream life and everything you want in it. So I know a lot of people on this channel are not there yet. I wanted to bring this information to you because it's so important in healing. And it's not just important for healing, but it's important for everything that you want to do and be in life. This is the information that you need. This is the information that you're looking for. If you create a healing identity that is so strong like this, body, mind, heart, and soul, your body, your cells have no choice but to heal. It's inevitable. It will happen. There isn't any way that they can't heal. But if you need help, if you're stuck in survival mode, please go sign up for my free program, How to Get Out of Survival Mode. And if you want to learn how to become your own healer, how to do everything that we need to do in the physical, in the emotional, and in the spiritual journey, in the pyramid that it takes to heal, then consider signing up for the Become Your Own Healer program. Part 1 of the program, The Foundations of Health and Healing, is open and available now. And so I truly hope that you have enjoyed today's video, that you've gotten value out of it. And if you did, please go ahead and hit the like button for all of the free resources that I give to you each and every week here on my YouTube channel. I do spend a lot of time giving out free resources, so that like really goes a long way. And I truly believe that the information that I share here is absolutely life-saving and important if you are on a healing journey. So go ahead and subscribe. I'm sending you all my love, and I will see you in the next video.